Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Paige, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois, and this is going to be my trailer breakdown for episode 2 for this season, or the first season, and this episode is otherwise entitled Heritage, and that's a pretty fitting title for the episode, but of course, let's actually watch that trailer, and I'll shut up. Let's watch it.
And now, an exclusive sneak peek at what's to come on Superman and Lois.
After my father died, I felt pretty lost. I had a lot of questions about who I was, why I could do the things I could do. So I came here, found my answers.
You brought your son to me. Why?
Each power comes with its own burden. It's not just what you do, it's also what you don't do.
What's the point of having something special if you're not allowed to be special?
When your dad gets distracted, lives are at stake.
I know you can hear the bomb in my ship. Who the hell is Superman? Me or them? Make a choice.
Everything you do is a mistake.
I don't know who my kids are anymore.
If you don't like the way something is, change it.
I don't like his priorities changing.
It's called being a father.
I'm not throwing away time with my family. But if anything goes wrong, I will be there.
Superman and Lois, new series Tuesdays at 9/8 Central, only on the CW.
Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be the usual layout of the promos going forward, as they are very different than what we're used to with CW promos, but I guess we will know once we get to episode 3, as this promo was sort of spliced in or laid in with the special at the end of episode 1. I'm not sure how many people watched it. It was actually worth watching, so if you can watch on like the CW app, I'd recommend go watching it. I think it's worth it. But yeah, it's sort of unclear whether all of the stuff that was in this trailer is from episode 2, because I think they said in next week and beyond. Now, that can only mean like maybe it's a few weeks, but we'll talk about most of it and try and, focus on stuff that we know is from episode 2, but we'll touch on everything that's in the trailer because it's worth it. But before that, let's quickly go over the synopsis for this episode, the description, what do you want to call it, as it'll enlighten us with some other little things. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your various opinions in the comment section down below. What you're looking forward to most in this episode, what gets you intrigued, any theories, let me know all of them in the comment section down below. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you're looking forward to this episode, why not drop a like on it to show your support. While adjusting to their new lives in Smallville, Lois and Clark make an important decision concerning one of their sons. Meanwhile, tensions begin to rise between Lois and Morgan Edge. Lastly, Lana Lang Cushing invites the Kent family over for a barbecue. So the first major part of the trailer to bring up is what you would think the major part of the episode is going to be about, and that is Clark, or, Superman, taking his son Jordan to the Fortress of Solitude. And as you can hear over the top of the trailer, following the death of his father, who of course was called Jonathan, the other son's name, Clark was lost, unsure of things, and it was him making his way to the Fortress of Solitude and finding out what he needed to find out that set him on his way. And now it is time for Jordan to find out what he needs to find out, or at least, gain an understanding of everything. Now, Jor-El will be introduced in this episode. We can hear him in the trailer when he says, "You brought your son to me. Why?" Now, we know who will be playing him. That was announced around 2 weeks ago, roughly, I think, and that is Angus McFadden. I think that's how you pronounce his name, who is known for the movie Braveheart. I'm sure most of you have seen it or at least heard of it. Now, there was actually a character description released when they announced that, Jor-El was in the show and that they cast him and everything, and that description reads as follows. Jor-El is Clark Kent's Kryptonian father. Though he died along with Krypton, his brilliant essence still exists within the Arctic Fortress of Solitude to provide guidance when his son seeks help. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what Jordan as well as Clark, because he might gain something from this, so just see what they both gain from their trip to the Fortress of Solitude. I'm very much looking forward to it. By the sounds of it, this isn't the only appearance of Jor-El this season, but episode 2 was the only confirmed episode because it's the first episode is in, obviously, so that's confirmed. But it'll be interesting to see where else he shows up, or when, because I doubt he's going to be leaving the Fortress of Solitude, so I guess when he shows up. But yeah, so look forward to that. Each power has a burden, not just what you do with it, but also what you don't. And I think that's going to be a big learning curve for the boys, especially Jordan, but maybe even Clark as well. Apparently there are meant to be more flashbacks throughout the show, but specifically episode 2 has more, which I'm curious about. I think it was Bitsy, who plays Lois, that said episode 2 has more Superman slash, Clark Kent origin flashbacks, which I'm pretty excited to see. I guess it depends on like the setting. Like, is it when he's early Superman? Maybe we get more of him in that really cool Flasher suit, which I thought was really cool. Or is it maybe like teenage Clark or something like that? Because teenage Clark is in the show, and even like a toddler Clark Kent as well. So I wonder if they're going to be in future episodes as well. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think they'd want to touch on that too much because we had 10 years of Smallville, so I guess they'd touch on it like when it's relevant to the story. But like a scene that I can see them doing is maybe it has Clark's first time in the Fortress of Solitude before we see him take Jordan there. That could be a very logical flashback scene we could get. Now we do have Jordan and Jonathan in school. Jordan's getting bullied by I think still boyfriend of Sarah. No idea if they're still together. Maybe they broke up and that's why the dude is extra salty now. I don't know. But we do hear Jonathan talking about like what's the point in being special if you can't use what actually makes you special, which could be referring to Jordan or maybe even himself. Like Jonathan is a football player and there is the chance that his powers start to come out more predominantly and excel his abilities too much to the point where they potentially become dangerous to the other players around him. I remember Smallville did this at one point. Like Clark wanted to join the football team and Jonathan Kent was like, no, you're not doing it. And I think he hurt someone. I can't remember what it was. It was something along those lines. But in regards to Jordan, the ability to restrain himself from like heat visioning that dude's face off or even just like pushing him away into the lockers, which will probably break a couple of ribs, that becomes more and more difficult as time goes on. But we do see that Clark is there to witness Jordan being bullied at school. So maybe he can step in, not as Superman, but as dad. So it's Clark stepping up for his son as his father. But obviously it's not like because he thinks his son's weak. It's because maybe he's just trying to protect his son from maybe lashing out and, heading down a bad route. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Now we do have Captain Luthor, or the formerly, mysterious stranger, whatever you want to call him, looking to like be stunning a bunch of military folk in order to get into this building in the background there. We know he's on the hunt for kryptonite now due to losing his, or using his last piece, stabbing Superman. So I would assume that there is some kryptonite in this building, or something in that building can lead him to finding kryptonite. I'd assume it's just in there, but maybe there's a map in there or something. I don't know. But speaking of Captain Luthor, we do hear him say, I know you can hear the bomb in my ship. And we do see shots of his ship exploding in space with a red blast, which we will come back to in a second. But I do wonder whether the ship is placed in a dangerous area on Earth, such as around people. Because if it was in an isolated area, like we saw at the end of episode 1, it wouldn't be too much of an issue unless whatever is on the ship that, when it does explode could be very dangerous to Earth, and having it within its atmosphere is just very lethal and Superman has to get it out there. But it looks like the ship's flying itself, so it almost looks like Captain Luthor leads him out there. I'm not too sure. There's not a lot of context. There's only like some quick shots here and there, so maybe it's on autopilot. I don't know. But speaking of the ship exploding, it does have like a red blast, and I do wonder if this is like meant to be like mimicking like the red sun or something like that, which could, depower Superman. That'd be fairly interesting, and put him out for an episode or two in regards to not being able to do Superman stuff, or at least not be as powerful as Superman, which would allow Captain Luthor to maybe get away with some stuff. There are some other shots of like Superman looking to be winning over Captain Luthor and like wailing on him, but then there's like a bridge collapsing. Once again, not a lot of context to what's going on exactly. Because that's most likely not an episode 2. That's probably from a later episode. But I don't know. It looks like this rivalry between Captain Luthor and Superman is going to be fairly interesting and worth tuning into week to week. But one of the more like down to earth things, and that's probably going to be a theme for a while on the show, is just Clark struggling with being a father, and such as like not understanding his kids, as well as the pressure from General Lane, who was after Superman all the time, and wanting Superman to be Clark's priority when at the current time it needs to be something else. Like, he is still Superman. He will go and be Superman when the world needs him to be Superman, but he is Clark Kent for most of the day, and that's what his family needs. His family needs him to be Clark Kent, aka Dad. The world will get Superman when they need him. Just like on the show, we'll get Superman when there needs to be Superman. But realistically, if you're looking at the show, like, he can't just be sitting in his tights, sitting on a chair waiting to be called into the game. He's got another life to live. So it would be interesting to see that dynamic play through the show. But we do have some promo images. They do mention the barbecue in the synopsis, and there is these first few, which we'll just quickly go through, which are at the barbecue. I'm sure most of you remember in the trailer when Clark's like, I wish I could get drunk or something like that. I am interested to see the Lana relationship, because I think a lot of people think there's going to be like this love triangle, but I think it's almost going to be like Clark and, like, because they were like obviously, you know, high school sweethearts or high school lovers, whatever you want to call them. So I think you're just seeing like the difference in the relationship, maybe, because we've seen what Kyle Cushing, her husband's like, and Lana seems to always be like almost like embarrassed by it a bit. So I think that's maybe the dynamic we'll see there. Maybe Clark feeling bad for an old friend, but I don't think there's going to be a love triangle. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they want to avoid that, especially with a relationship like Clark and Lois. I don't think that'd be the smartest thing. But yeah, there's just some shots here. Like we have like just some of the kids at the barbecue. There's nothing really here plot wise that's too thrilling. It's just a lot of like, you know, non-spoilery stuff. That's pretty much the big thing. And sometimes Primary Images don't want to spoil too much. There are two things though, and that's we meet the back of one new character, which is Chrissy Beppo, who is like a local journalist in Smallville. So I guess meeting Lois Lane here would be like a dream come true or something like that. So she's a new character we'll meet this episode. And I think maybe Lois is going to be, you know, she's got her own investigative thing going on with what's happening with the bank and Morgan Edge's interest in Smallville. So she might be making an ally here to get to the bottom of it, or maybe just getting some information that Chrissy might know. There is this interesting shot where it looks like probably Superman's flying above them, maybe. Not too sure. Oh yeah, actually this would be Clark flying off with Jordan, and Jonathan's going to school. So Lois is dropping off Jonathan at school, and Clark will be flying off with Jordan, to go to the Fortress of Solitude. So we might get some like jealousy from Jonathan there as well. Like Jonathan has been this like jock, you know, popular kid at school most likely, and now he's probably jealous of Jordan, which will be like the first time ever. So that might be an interesting dynamic on the show. And then we do get to meet Morgan Edge, who is a recast from what we saw in Supergirl. So it's going to be interesting to see what he's like on the show as well. But I think this scene looks like it's taking place in Metropolis. It's not in Smallville. The building looks too like fancy to be in Smallville, and even like the outside. So I think it's meant to be in Metropolis. But yeah, this could be a bit of a dramatic scene between good old Lois Lane and the dastardly Morgan Edge. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions about the trailer and the promo images. What are you looking forward to the most going into this episode and everything like that. Always curious to hear. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.